Okay, having reached the appropriate, the aforementioned hour, let's call this meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Member Ferrer? Here. Member Terrio?
Here. Okay. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived by those present, and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Item number 1 is citizen input.
Have not received any.
No citizen input. Item number 2 is the minutes of the previous meeting. If there are any corrections, omissions, adjustments, the chair will entertain. If hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Motion to accept.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Proposed leak abatements. Leak abatements for the first month of the new fiscal year. Have you looked through them? Do you feel, are there any questions, concerns? I've reviewed everything and I find everything in line with the abatement policy. The abatements listed total $32,805.39. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the abatements as submitted.
Motion to approve is listed.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Tom, you got all your abatements.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listing
Yeah.
the totals year over year. It's kind of nice to be able to look back and see.
Yeah.
Back from,
No,
back from 2020.
You know, this system of abatement is really, really good. It gives you a complete understanding of what's going on. I'm glad.
Good to see the trend, whether there is one or not.
Okay, item number 4 is Woodward and Curran, amendment number 1 for design work for engineering services, lead service line replacement program. Mr. Clerk.
So this is for the CY 2024 lead service line replacement program. This was a program that we are working right now to get out some bids for the new program. Actually, the 25. The contract's called the calendar year 24, but we're just doing an amendment for it for the calendar year 25, which we're putting together the bid packages now to put out. So this will include finishing up putting together the bid packages, providing the bid documents, and being able to move forward with it. There was an available budget left in the 24, and then we just did this minor amendment to bring up the full amount that we needed to complete the design of these contracts.
All right, so the proposed amendment, all right, the original contract value was $305,000. The original contract value minus previously approved budget, shift of $155,000. So the proposed amendment number 1 is for $80,000, and the contract total is $235,000. Chair would entertain a motion to approve.
So
Seconded. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Amendment number 2 of the revised lead service line replacement program. Mr. Clerk.
So this is the lead service line inventory program. We're getting close to having almost a full inventory of our service lines, but as you can imagine, we've been going at this almost 2.5 years now, And the toughest ones are the ones that we're still having issues with. This is an amendment to the contract with Woodland Current, Amendment Number 2, in the amount of $200,000. Originally, the contract was for $750. Amendment 1 was for $200,000. Amendment 2 was for $200,000, for a total of $1.15 million to do our full inventory. We've used this for a lot of other, not a lot of, but we've used this for a lot of the work that we've done with the inventory, the revised lead and copper rule, inspections, and things like that. So we're getting to the finish line here, and we'll be hopefully crossing it sometime in the near future to having a full inventory of service materials throughout the city. One thing, all this funding is provided through a grant through the state SRF program. So this is no cost to the ratepayers. So this total project, the inventory project that we've been working on, $1.15 million estimated cost, is no cost to our ratepayers.
That is fantastic. That is really great. All right, so what we need here is an amendment, excuse me, I'm a little off tonight. So what we need is a motion to approve amendment number 2 in the amount of $200,000.
Motion made.
Seconded, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. The Westport Intermunicipal Agreement, Mr. Clerk.
So in front of you tonight, you have the Westport Intermunicipal Agreement that's been drafted up. This is in draft. This is draft form as it stands now. Hopefully, go to the Water Board, go to the Westport Town Council, and as well as the City of Fall River City Council. The main body of this, I have to say, is consistent with the prior intermunicipal agreement that we have with Westport. Our current intermunicipal agreement did expire a little over 2 years ago. A little over 2 years ago with Westport, and it went on a year-to-year basis since then. Just to talk about some of the changes from the old intermunicipal agreement and this new one. So this new one mirrors the other intermunicipal agreements we have with the other towns as well. So we, in 2015, which just expired, we did a intermunicipal agreement with North Tiverton Fire District. We also did one in 2017 with Freetown, and back in 2018, we tried to talk to Westport for them to upgrade their intermunicipal agreement. They didn't want to at the time. And as you know, for the past couple of years, we've been working with Westport to get payment for some past due bills, which the Water Board has approved an agreement for that, but we haven't moved forward because of some dismay from the council, but we haven't heard anything from the council recently, anytime since the last meeting that I had with them, myself and the president had with them. We have not heard any or gotten any other correspondence from the council in relation to that. But just to talk about the intermunicipal agreement here, so Westport, in their old intermunicipal agreement, would pay 1.7%, so 70% higher than what a Fall River residential customer would pay. And all of the old intermunicipal agreements said that up to any amount and stuff like that. It's good, but the problem is it didn't promote it. We have water to sell, as the board knows. It didn't promote the other communities to want to expand their systems and expand their customer base, which in turn buy more water from us. So this is modeled exactly after all the other intermunicipal agreements. It has a number which is just above what their average normal yearly use is now. And then, so that base amount, which in this agreement is 20 million gallons, 20 million gallons, anything above that, so that would be billed at 55% above the Fall River residential rate. So rather than 70, it'd be 55% above the floor of a residential rate. Anything above that 20 million gallons will be billed at 5% above the residential rate. So what that does is it entices them to want to bring more customers into their system and be able to sell more water, which is something that we have.
It's an incentive.
Something that we want to do.
Yeah.
Some other changes within this agreement. We made sure that the clauses for termination and non-payment are a little bit stronger than what we've had in the past. We have the ability and the right to be able to water wheel. In this agreement, we have the ability and right to be able to water wheel, which means
Very important.
sell to other customers through Westport, as long as it doesn't impact their customers or impact their system. So we would be able to sell potentially to other communities beyond Westport. That
That's great.
could tie directly into Westport. So those were overall some of the changes that were made in here. There was one error, actually, that the president brought to my attention that would like to strike on section 7.1.1A.
Correct.
It says at the beginning in the first full fiscal year after execution of this agreement, I would like to strike in the first full fiscal year.
Correct.
Strike that out, so it would state beginning after execution of this agreement.
And that would immediately bring them into line right now with our current rate and
Correct.
whatnot.
Yep.
Excellent. The water wheeling is so important for a lot of people who don't understand that. It allows us to use Westport's main distribution main if we want to send water to Dartmouth or to someone else or to a large industrial, something else. It's a great idea. I think going down from the 70% surcharge to a more equitable 55% for the first 20 million and then 5% above 20 million, that's a strong incentive. In the agreement, we say to Westport that White's and Hampton Inn each they get 35,000, and the remainder of 165,000 is dedicated for the town. That would give them, if they wanted, 73 million gallons of water.
Correct.
That's a heck of an incentive.
Their capacity is pretty high, but again, we want them to be able to grow their systems. They just put an expansion of their system that went up around the Melville School, I believe it is.
Yeah.
In Westport, they did a loop out on the end there, which brought them closer to the Dartmouth line with their distribution system. But they're picking up a number of customers, and that was due to emergent contaminants that were impacting the wells over there. All public water supplies right now need to test for these emergent contaminants. That's why the school was tested, and there was issues to be found out there. The testing and sampling has not hit private wells yet, but you can imagine if it's in that area, in the public wells, it may also be in the private wells. Once those private wells either require testing or something happens, a lot more customers may be wanting to tie into a municipal source that doesn't have those contaminants.
Well, it'll be good to also get a list of the customers. You'll have that in your for your billing software if you ever needed to go that route. If we ever expanded.
Yeah, correct. 100%. We. They'll provide us a whole entire map of their system. They'll provide us all their customers, and they need to do that periodically or when we request it through this agreement. Again, there was the current town administrator that's in place has been working to try to get this in place, clean up some of the sins of the past, as I would call them. and get it to a place where we can move forward so that we can, hopefully Fall River can sell more water to Westport. Westport can supply that service to their residents.
The future is expansion. We know it, and we have to sell more product. That's all there is to it. So with the adjustment to section 7.1 under 7.1.1 subsection A, with that correction noted, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the intermunicipal agreement and pass it forward to the council.
Motion made.
Seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right. Now, water maintenance solar power purchase agreement. Mr. Clerk, this is exciting.
Yeah, I've gotten hammered, I think, since the building we're sitting in right now.
There have been suggestions to solar energy.
Yeah, this building was prepped for solar structurally, mechanically,
Yeah.
to be able to accept solar and other alternative energies. We looked at a couple of different options for it, and the one that we came up with that right now has the most bang for the buck and best return actually isn't even putting it on the roof of this building. You'll be able to see up on the screen here, and I've worked with National Grid and their consultant who's procured through a state procurement with National Grid. What they've come up with is actually doing an elevated canopy system over behind the building. So this is, just for reference, over here, this side is the Stonehaven Road. Over on this lower side of the map is Bedford Street, out over there. So this is really the employee entrance. This is the back side of the building that faces towards the pond going down the hill, Route 24. What they developed was a self-supporting canopy that would run this whole entire area. They'll come out, they can fully construct the whole entire canopy, comes over just to the edge here is where our transformer is. It will be behind the meter setup, so this canopy will be behind the meter, so essentially it'll take any of the electricity that we use here, it'll take and pretty much deduct that off the meter, and then any excess that we sell, we'd be selling back to the grid. Again, as I've said in the past, a lot of the programs, you used to get a one-to-one return on what you're selling back to the grid. You don't get that return anymore. That's long gone. But this will cover the cost of our building. The expectation is about a 25-year life expectancy. And the way that the power purchase agreement, you get less in the beginning, but more towards the end, back. But it's somewhere roughly in about $200,000 ranges, so that we'd be getting back. It depends, overall that's based on an estimate that was provided by them. But over the life of the project, that's what we expect to get back.
That's fabulous.
It's good. It's great. It's a great return. We could put, everybody says solar on the roof of the building. To go up brand new building and put all of those attachment points and holes on a brand new roof, I don't, this building should last us 50 years, solar panels are 20. So we'd be having to have issues with the roof potentially when we remove those. So I think it's best to do this separate, self-supported option that doesn't impact our building at all. It gives us another area, we park trucks out there and different equipment, gives us another area to be able to park equipment under. Doesn't fully get it in a heated space or anything like that, but at least out of the heavy rains and heavy weather.
And UV damage.
Yeah. Yep.
Looking at solar projects, the number one recommended methodology is just what you're doing here, and that is a canopy. they recommend canopies for the reasons you pointed out, as well as, it keeps your equipment, under cover. But we're going to be able to generate our own power.
Yeah.
And that is just a terrific savings.
No, without a doubt, and so
Wow.
this project right here, so there is a federal law out there, it's called the Big Beautiful Bill, and that,
I've heard of that.
yeah, that definitely changes the solar credits, the wind farm credits. It changes a lot of that. Who knows what the future will bring? This project right now, as it stands with this board's approval, they'll be able to get in before any of before any of those changes are made with this company. So we'll be able to move forward under the current credit programs, the tax credit programs, and the power purchase agreement programs that are currently in place. So this project will be able to move forward with this. There is other solar that I'm looking for in different locations. Like I said, the tough thing looking at all this and trying to understand it is about behind the meter compared to selling it back to the grid. Unless you're a large, huge generator and you're considered almost a power plant,
Right.
a solar power plant, it's very tough to be able to leverage them to get really good payback. Unless you're behind the meter and you're shaving off some of your work. But, this board did approve at the prior meeting, one of the prior meetings, a loan authorization to do a new roof down at the wastewater treatment plant. So part of my plan through the design of that whole entire project is prep that whole entire roof to be able to put solar on in the future, so that it'd be a matter of somebody coming in, mounting the panels, putting them on, and the tie-ins and everything will already be there ready for them to use. So
I tell you, I haven't seen an electric bill since I put solar on my house. So, it works. It works. Contrary to somebody with a big, beautiful bill, but yeah, that's great. That is just, I think this is really exciting. And I know it's going to find favor with more than a few people who have been looking forward to the use of solar up here.
Yep.
So that's great. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the letter of intent for the solar power purchase agreement. Seconded. All in favor? Aye. Item number 8, contract updates and cybersecurity improvements. A vitally important project with our move towards AI and the villainy that is out in the world. You need as much cyber protection as you can possibly get. And being in the water business, it's absolutely essential.
yeah, without a doubt. So no action needed by the board on this. This is just for the board's edification. Again, anything under 50 doesn't need approval by the boards, can be approved in.
Yeah.
50,000 can be approved administratively, but I always like to bring these things to the board.
No, I appreciate you doing that because it's a concern. It's something I'm sure that Chris shares with me that, every time you hear about a hack, I just recently got clobbered on a New Jersey Turnpike toll, believe it or not. And got absolutely clobbered on thankfully my bank, Webster, was very good about the whole thing, but there's so much out there now, and you've got to be careful.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we applied about 6 months ago for a grant from Mass DEP for $50,000. That's what this project included. So we had one portion of it was upgrading all of our servers, firewalls and stuff down at the water treatment plant, encrypting our whole entire radio system that goes out through our whole entire system, encrypting that to add another layer of protection from being able to get it in. This project goes through and works on a incident response plan and an emergency response plan. So if there is an incident, we'll have a plan to be able to move forward. Who to call, who to contact, our cybersecurity insurance. Do we call the FBI? Who do we call? Who do we contact right off the bat? What do we unplug? To try to stop the spread of something.
To stop the worm from...
Exactly, from moving. Because that's sometimes what they do. They'll come into some unexpected piece of equipment and they'll let it sit there and kind of migrate its way through for months on a time.
The stories you hear, the most innocent moves, and I mean, somebody even charging a phone, it can...
Without a doubt. So that'll help us, that'll build the plan so we'll have it ready.
Oh, absolutely.
Ready if we ever need it. The other thing that it's also going to do is train our staff. It'll have a training for our staff on what to do in an incident, how to prevent incidents, and how to make sure, again, how to use that emergency response plan. The book sitting on the shelf isn't any good if nobody knows it's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody knows what it says. So that's one of the other things that this is going to take care of. Again, this is a fully funded grant through DEP, no cost to our ratepayers.
No cost to the ratepayer. Once again, an improvement at no cost to the ratepayer. Can't beat that. I love the idea of 4 hours of training per employee. That's great.
Yeah, and the board knows that, I try, everything to get out there and get these grants. We have a great grant writing staff in the city, that's out of the mayor's office. There's a grant writer up there, Jasmine. I can give her my crazy idea on what will fit into a certain grant that I read about.
Yes.
And she makes it work, and we end up getting awarded these, through DEP, who's a big supporter of these grants that put them out. There was 2, this one and another one for leak detection equipment for $50,000 that we got last year.
Yeah.
These grants are vital to us being able to have correct equipment, have proper things, have, servers that are up to date, equipment that's up to date, making sure that our staff is properly trained and that we're able to move forward. So, but we wouldn't be able to do these without the staff that I have in the office, because managing these too is a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Making sure that the contracts are right, making sure all the paperwork's complete, tracking all the financial expenditures, doing the closeout reports and stuff like that. That's primarily handled a lot from staff in my office. So without
staff.
those people, it'd be tough to be able to do all this work.
Yeah, the staff's done a great job. And the cherry on the top is that it's not costing us anything.
Correct.
I mean, talk about a win-win-win.
And again, you look at it, this grant, the servers that we had down there, we're about 8 years old running the SCADA system. Who has an 8-year-old computer that is still operating, that runs their that's the brain for their whole entire legit operation.
And that's the important thing. It's the brain of the entire operation, the most important building in the city.
Yeah, it was a needed upgrade anyways, and to be able to, again, with one of my crazy ideas, be able to fit it into a grant program, is pretty good.
Keep making those crazy ideas. I'll talk to you about Beechwood aging someday, and we'll go from there. That brings us to last piece, which is item number 9, other business. Is there any other business come before the board?
I do not have any other business.
Hearing none, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.